The derelict vessel hung in orbit like a ghost from another era, forgotten by time and untouched by life. Its fractured hull shimmered under the light of a distant sun, fractured in places, blackened in others, evidence of a long-forgotten battle. The ship's name had long since been scorched off, its identity buried in cosmic silence. 17-year-old Lyra Vance didn't care about any of that. She was there for salvage. Hovering just outside the wreckage in her father's Junker-class shuttle, the Drift Rat, Lyra tapped into the ship's scanning systems, her heart thumping against her ribs. The derelict was ancient, pre-Confederation judging by the hull material, possibly from the lost war between the Zanari and the Terran Accord, which meant whatever's inside might still be classified, or dangerous, or valuable. He grinned. "Looks dead," muttered Grix, the Rust Bucket's old AI. His voice static-laced and cynical as ever. "Power levels barely register. No life signs. This tub's been floating for centuries." "Perfect," Lyra whispered. She tugged on her light exosuit, snapped the helmet in place, and sealed it with a hiss. "Patch me into the drone relay." Moments later, a docking clamp latched onto a puncture in the derelict's midsection. The airlock cycled. She slipped inside the broken corpse of a forgotten warship. The corridors inside were dim and silent, coated with dust and shadows. Her suit's flashlight swept over cracked panels, shredded wires, and dried stains that made her stomach churn. There were no bodies, just the eerie sense that something had happened fast. Too fast for anyone to escape. Lyra made her way toward what she guessed was the bridge, judging by the curvature of the corridors and remains of tactical displays. But it was what lay beyond the bridge doors that drew her attention. A sealed chamber, shielded by overlapping alien tech and what looked like ceremonial carvings etched in silver alloy. Her translator struggled, rendering the glyphs slowly. "Command Core, Zanari Captain-only access." A chill ran up her spine. Lyra knelt beside the door, brushing away dust and centuries of neglect. Her fingers found a panel, still active. Her pulse raced. It recognized her touch. The panel hummed with sudden light, and the door split open with a hiss of releasing pressure. Inside was a raised platform surrounded by cascading holograms of distant stars and long-forgotten battles. At the center stood a humanoid-shaped suit. Bleak, silver blue, covered in etched glyphs that pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. Tall, elegant, and shaped for something just a bit taller than a human. A long, flowing cape curled around its frame, and a helmet with 4 glowing slits rested atop the armor's neck. The moment Lyra stepped inside, the chamber came alive. Glyphs shimmered. Lights pulsed. The suit turned its head. No, it was reacting to her. Responding. Grix," she whispered. "Tell me I'm not crazy." "Definitely crazy," the AI muttered. "That thing's Zanari command grade. Meant to interface biologically with species of psionic aptitude. Which you don't have." She reached toward it anyway. The suit moved. With a snap and hiss, the armor unfolded like flower petals. She gasped as something warm and electric flooded her senses. Light streamed from the armor's core, encircling her limbs, her spine, her mind. The helmet sealed around her head as if molded just for her. And then, everything changed. She stood in a void of stars. She saw the Zanari War, the final moments of their flagship, and the captain who once wore this armor, Jakar Thal, a warrior commander who refused to let the core fall into enemy hands. Instead, he sealed it and died in the collapse of the bridge. The suit. It had been waiting for a worthy successor, and somehow, impossibly, it chose her. "Lyra Vance," a voice said in her mind. Ancient. You carry the spark of adaptation." the will to endure. You are now bonded to the ether frame. The vision ended with a rush of air. She stood in the chamber once more, but not as before. Her limbs felt light yet powerful. Her senses stretched out beyond the walls. She could feel the energy lines running through the ship, like veins of sleeping light. She could access systems with a thought. It was connected. Grix, she said, her voice layered with a resonance not her own. Run a diagnostic sweep. I think I just became the captain of this thing. I hate everything about this, Grix said, stunned. But okay. Over the next few hours, Lyra explored the derelict with ease. The suit, the ether frame, guided her through once inaccessible areas, reactivating systems that hadn't responded in centuries. Lights flickered to life. Navigation logs decrypted. Weapons systems reconnected to their dormant cores. But more than that, she discovered something else. The ship wasn't entirely dead. Had a jump core. Intact. Alien, yes, but capable of folding space-time with ease. Something even the Confederation hadn't perfected yet. Whoever controlled this vessel could cross galaxies in days. Which is when everything went wrong. A beacon flared to life in the back of her mind. A warning the suit translated instantly. Incoming vessel. Military grade. Human Confederation ID. Lyra's breath caught. They were tracking her. Or more likely, tracking the artifact. Before she could retreat to the drift rat, the Confederate ship dropped out of FTL above the wreck. A boarding signal pinged. Then a voice. Cold. Authoritative. This is Commander Reese of the Confederation Salvage Authority. Power down all systems and exit the vessel immediately. Artifact retrieval is now under Confederation jurisdiction. Lyra grit her teeth. Not happening. She opened a comm channel. This ship's not dead. And it didn't call you. It called me. There was a pause. Then Reese laughed. You're a teenage thief in a suit you can't begin to comprehend. Hand it over before you hurt yourself. The ether frame pulsed around her in response. Her nerves hummed. No, she said simply. They forced entry. Four elite commandos stormed into the corridor outside the bridge, rifles drawn. But they didn't expect what Lyra had become. She moved like lightning, literally. The suit's propulsion systems activated mid-air, and she blinked behind them. Her hands sparked with psionic energy she hadn't even known she could control. She disabled their weapons with a flick of her fingers, and a shockwave launched them back into the corridor walls, dazed but alive. Hostiles neutralized, the suit intoned. Minimal force used. Per protocol. Lyra stared at her hands, panting. What am I now? More than human. Less than Zanari. You are. Evolved. Commander Reese appeared on the outer viewport, watching her from the bridge of his ship. His expression was unreadable. Then, for the first time, he didn't order her to surrender. He asked, "What do you want, girl?" Lyra looked around the restored bridge, the systems humming with ancient power, the star maps alive with possibilities. I want freedom. I want to choose my future. And I want to see what's out there. You'll be hunted. Let them try. The derelict ship rumbled beneath her feet as its engines came alive for the first time in centuries. Stars shifted. The jump core flared. She was gone. Epilogue. Months later, whispers began spreading across fringe colonies and deep space ports. Of a phantom vessel, shimmering like starlight, appearing in flash-filled pulses across war zones and disaster zones. Intervening in pirate raids.